So hello everybody. Wow. Transparency update. I don't know if you're following all of them, but the last video I told you I was going into Naked the retreat, the 9th retreat, and that was an interesting dive into resistance again, density, and highlighted a lot. Look at this, sorry, I've got to show you this little dog. When I was meditating, he just come over and sat by my back, and he's like, everyone loves him, yeah? Hey, wait. Everyone just loves this little dog. Comes and attacks you while you're eating. They want food. So basically, in a nutshell, it's been full power last week and a half. It's like a lifetime in the last 2 weeks. And I don't know if that happens for you in your life, but so as some of you know, I do these retreats, Naked Retreat, and this is my invitation to support ourselves to come out of the sleep state and step into an awakened state of being. What does that mean? It means getting out of the dense frequency, the dense thinking, the dense feelings, the thickness that we're in through our cultural conditioning, our social conditioning, our own agreements to beliefs that were not ours, and from like the story of imperfection, from unworthiness to loneliness to judgments to conditional love to the idea of separation, you know, the ego's identification to form, to understanding the ego and knowing thyself fully, and understanding the ego in the sense of knowing the different aspects of the ego, you know, what's actually needed and what's not needed, and what's false and what's actually useful in this dimension. And if you don't learn this stuff and study this stuff, I speak for myself. I came from a counsellor state growing up in the usual societal lack and scarcity mentality, and then growing up in a world where, you know, you get educated and taught what you have to do in society, and then you have to go out in the world and make money. And at a young age I became a criminal and was a rebel from such a young age. I was like, something didn't feel right. And as you grow older and you start to go into different systems and try out this society that we all think is reality, you start to question it and think, this is just feeling really off. So, you know, so Naked is all about stripping away all of that, stripping away our conditioning. And so when we go into the retreat, there's resistance, there's skepticism, there's density, there's lack, there's scarcity, there's judgment, there's conflict, there's anger, there's all these mixed emotions and diminishing thought forms that are coming into the space. So it's not always such a joyful experience at the beginning, because, you know, you're up against all of that, and it highlights it within yourself, and then it highlights it in the group, and then it shows it in the collective, and then of course from the collective you can see the mirror of macro of what's happening out in our world, in the world that we live in. So you get that like beautiful reflection, and it's phenomenal. But, you know, you're dealing with that, you're cleaning and going into that fire, and consciously doing that. That's what we do, me and Dara and Mark and anybody else that comes at the second time, and those that come for the first time, they courageously dive in. So it's been a full-on, in a nutshell, just to tell you, I landed, I said on one of the other videos, I had jet lag for 4 days. From jet lag, which I've never had like that before in all of my traveling. And then from the jet lag, we went into the retreat, and I was feeling a lot of resistance, and I was feeling like, you know, how I want to show up this time, and what needs to be shared and what needs to be delivered, and feeling that the program needs to change, or we've been changing it slowly the last 2 or 3 retreats anyway, but even more it needs to change. And So I was feeling that resistance going in and feeling moments of checking out, and then, you know, went through the whole week. And of course, as always, love prevailed. When we get out of the way and everybody drops their personas and looks at the, you know, really the ego and how it's identified to label and identified to what people think of it and identified to all this false belief, and that drops away for everyone in a different way, and we come together and we connect and we go through some of the practices and processes, you know, they always invite and lead to more and more love, more and more compassion, more acceptance of diversity, more into being. It just starts happening, and it's so magical, and the space just, you know, takes over. So that happened, and then on the last day I got sick, I got fever and diarrhea. And then we had to leave on that day, and like the space, we had to clean up a little bit, and then I was getting a bit better, I felt, and then we had to go on a 10-hour bus journey to come down and meet Mark's mum on this island, this little beach that we're on, which is phenomenal, just to recharge and just to let go and just be. And then the bus journey thankfully was okay, and I didn't have diarrhea and no fever, but it was still feeling quite weak, and a lot of flatulence, a lot of trapped wind in my chest. And then got here, and like the first day was fine, and then I laid in the sun, not realizing how the wind was so powerful, and I completely burnt. I mean, my whole body, I don't even get to see it now, but my whole body was just red. Oh man, I remember way back when I was 18 in Thailand, traveling around 19, and I got sunburnt intensely that I ended up getting sick after. I was burnt for days, blistering, but luckily it wasn't that intense. However, I was burnt. So, burnt, went to bed, really burning, put oil on, burnt my face, you can see I'm just red, look how red I am. And then woke up the next day, felt okay. Gary, the guy that's come and travel with us, he's a new naked ear. I go down to the toilet and he's projectile vomiting, just like vomited into the thing and pooing at the same time. He's now got diarrhea and a little bit of fever. I go back to my room, then Dara comes and she's got diarrhea and fever. And then all of a sudden I start getting nausea, and I got diarrhea and fever. But then diarrhea, I mean 30 times I was pooing that day. I had stomach cramps like mad. Then I was sick, and then it was just bile and full on sick. And then late that evening, Mark got it a little bit. And then Dara was getting a little bit better. She was able to look after me a little bit. So I cried at one point. I had to cry. I just laid in the bed just crying. It was so nice to cry, just to let that out. And then when I puked a bit later, I puked up all this coconut and all this yellow stuff come out, and then I had stomach, and then all throughout the night, every hour I was getting up, and then I had so much pain in my stomach, I took 2 Nurofen, ibuprofen, and that seemed to just relax my body, and I slept. And then woke up yesterday, and I did a little poo in the morning, and I haven't pooed since. And I had some bananas yesterday and drunk coconuts. There's our morning coconuts behind us, and yeah, that was where I'm at. So much has happened in the last 12 days. So much I want to share. So much coming through me, and you know, so much at the moment about like this 21st century and the awakening process and the awakening path, and our collective evolution as a species, and where we are. And you know, of course, many of you watching this, if you go back to 2012 and all the talk of this constant unfolding and this sort of critical mass and this tipping point that we're moving towards in human evolution, where more and more people around the world are just waking up and becoming more conscious and more loving and more tapped into the serendipitous moments and and the you know, the synchronicities and all of this. It's such a rich, beautiful time to be alive. And of course, there's many stages to that. There's many stages for many people at different stages, and finding different information and exploring their own ways of being, and then being with their families, and then communicating authentically is a whole new language. And then the language of love is a whole new language, and then it invites you to look at all of your crap and all of your darkness and all of the suffering, and you've got to look at all the lies, and that's challenging, and most people want to stay away from that because they can't cope with it. And suicide is more rife, and obesity, and then you've got the polarities and the sort of funky paradox constantly there of, like, you know, the information technology giving us so much, and at the same time creating so many addicts. And oh man, it's so powerful time. So ultimately, if you think about an atom, it's 99.99999% space, and, like, you know, we are made of atoms, you know, and like, we are space, and we're in space, and space is everywhere. And it's like, when you start to breathe more and feel more and drop more and let go, and really, you know, learn what letting go really feels like. It's all about, like, many of these concepts in the world. Like, listen to many teachers around the world, or many prophets, or inspirational people, or motivational people, whoever you listen to, inspirational people. All of us, we talk concepts until it's feeling, until it's embodied. So whatever you're listening to at the moment, whoever you're listening to, whatever you're doing, whatever practice you're trying, if it's dance, if it's shaking, if it's meditation, if it's reading, if it's whatever, acro yoga, if it's yoga, if it's qigong, if it's breath work, whatever it is, I want to say that in my experience, you know, those that, like, just say that it's really easy, or it becomes simple and it becomes easier, and there is a simplicity as divinity. All of that happens, but for you that's out there, maybe just starting on your path of self-inquiry, or starting asking big questions like, who am I? What's my purpose in life? What is space? You know, what is in the invisible? What am I not seeing with my naked eyes? What is intuition? What is sixth sense? What is multidimensional being? You know, what is synchronicity? What is multidimensional? What does multidimensional mean? Like, what does astral traveling mean, or astral projection? And, you know, how does gratitude truly magnetize life to me? You know, all of these questions, if you're at the early stages of them, then they're going to just be like, wow, it's like a whole new language. It's like, what the hell, you know? And then it becomes a talk, and you talk it with your friends, and you share it, and you read a bit more, and you see patterns show up around different people talking about different things, like, you know, like society, and, you know, you start to like join the dots, you know? And you start to join the dots, and that's your own little journey. That's the adventure. That's the road less traveled, let's say. Or, you know, then the road less traveled becomes the pathless path. And, you know, but you have to go on this inquiry. It's magical. Go on the adventure that life is calling you out. The hero's journey. Go on it. It's phenomenal. And yeah, listen to people along the way, but also walk with discernment and question everything, and don't believe a word I'm saying. And if it doesn't plug you in and tap into your truth and give you, you know, tingles of truth running up your neck, then, you know, don't trust it, you know? It's like, listen to what feels real for you. And this is I'm just going with whatever's spieling at the moment, but this is so exciting that we have this technology, we have this capacity, consciousness is expanding, we are questioning and sharing like never before, and it's just so damn phenomenal to be in the mystery, to be in the miracle, and to question and explore and feel, and then feel what is really going on, and feel yourself in the whole of this, you know, as this as part of the whole, of everything that's ever been before, that ever will be after, even beyond the so-called idea that there's a before and after, but everything that ever was and ever is, all here, all happening, all at once, and you are here as a witness, as an experiencer, as an explorer, and that is phenomenal. Simple as that. And when you step into that, you drop out of the unworthiness, you drop out of the idea that you're not connected to the whole, and you plug in and realize that your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, everything contributes to everything. So that's how powerful we are as individual beings that are, connected to all, right? Because our thoughts really do send out an electrical magnetic field, and our feelings really do draw energy towards us. It's not even like crazy science. If you just look at your life, at how things happen in your life, you will see that happens. Thoughts create reality, and when we start to become consciously aware of the thoughts we're having and not trusting that just because we have a thought makes it true, then all of a sudden we start to engage with life so differently, so powerfully. But boom, look, I just went off on one for 7 minutes. Breathe that in. Whatever you take from whatever I shared, breathe that in. I'm feeling good to be recharged. I'm going to eat some more bananas, drink some more coconuts, enjoy this beautiful location that I'm in. Have fun wherever you are. It's enough for today. Follow your truth. Listen. Just close your eyes. Breathe deeply. I just come out of an hour meditation. Breathe deeply and check in with what's really real for you. Because we are conditioned, and we are socially and culturally conditioned deeply, and it's deep and it's layered, and if you don't go after it and look for it and do practices that uncover that and get you out of the mind, you won't even tap into potentials that you never even thought were there. We're literally, I lived most of my life unconscious of my unconsciousness. Yeah? I'll share more about that another time. Sending you all love. Thank you for tuning in. You're amazing. Whatever you spot in me is in you, and if you spot it, you got it. And let's just keep expanding, awakening, sharing, loving, smiling, hugging, gifting forward, loving forward, sharing forward, and enjoying this magnificent creation that's all around us. This more beautiful world we know is possible is here right now, but it's inside each of us. We have to uncover it and then be it and live it. Mwah! Beautiful beings, sending you love all around the world. You are enough. I am enough. We are whole. It's already happened. Let's dance in this magic.